Hello everyone. Today our topic is Law of Defamation in India. Coming to introduction, defamation is making false statements about someone that could damage their reputation. It is based on false information disseminated to damage a person's reputation, reduce their respect or arouse negative emotions towards them. In India, defamation is punishable under civil and criminal law. Now, defamation is defined in section 499 of Indian Penal Code as follows: whoever by words or purporting to read or by signs or representations clearly expressed makes or publishes charges against any person intending to harm or knowing or having reason to believe that such imputation would damage the reputation of such a person, except as hereinafter excluded, is said to be intended to defame that person. Coming to defamation, defamation is known as purporting to read by words or by signs or representations clearly expressed that it is based on false information disseminated to damage a person's reputation, which is damaged one person to another person, individuals. It is punishable under section 499 of Indian Penal Code. Coming to next part, the concept of reputation, prestige and recognition in public life is an integral part of fundamental rights under Article 21 of the Constitution of India, where the actions and allegations intended to defame others or the circumstances in which they were committed have made headlines in recent months. Earlier this year, the Delhi High Court, in a landmark judgment, acquitted a journalist in a criminal defamation case filed by her former employer over her posting depicting details horrific stories of workplace violence over the years, where the court dismissed the defamation claim and drew a clear line between defamation and expression of genuine grief, accounts of abuse, and what a person has endured. Here, the concept of defamation is making a false statements about someone whose damages to be reputed or reputation. The damage have to be occur. So here, a person of reputation, prestige, recognition under public life is an integral part of fundamental rights. Where the damage occurs under the fundamental rights, Article 20 of Constitution of India, taken the actions and allegations intended to defame others or were committed have made headlines in recent months. So, in this landmark judgment, we have seen that how the court dismissed the defamation claim and draw the clear line between defamation and expression of genuine grief, accounts of abuse, and what a person has endured. Coming to next part, the most recent is a defamation lawsuit brought by a family member of a current government official of India against a sitting chief minister of the state concerned, stating slanderous allegations and statements. The posting of pictures and press conferences organized by the latter has damaged his family's reputation, image, and social respect, arousing people's interest in his actions. Defamation and its other components. According to Indian law, the court is in its order said that women cannot be punished for speaking out against sexual abuse on the ground of a defamation complaint. A woman has the right to air her grievances on any platform of her choice and even after decades. Here, in these most recent cases, defamation of lawsuit brought by a family member of a current government official. Here, it's stating that the slanderous allegations and statements which are posting by pictures or press conferences, which is organized by the latter, has family's reputation which is damaged by the society through images, social respect, arousing people's interest in his actions. Here, defamation in its other components which are saying by the court. In the sexual abuse, like women have the right to grievances of any platform of her choice, even after the decades are given by the legal framework of Indian Penal Code. Now, coming to what constitutes defamation. This is a comprehensive term that can be extended to slanderous statements and publications of malicious nature causing damage to an individual's reputation and social image and profession, a group of organizations or agencies. Like here, comprehensive term which is used as defamation and to slander or like statements which is publications of malicious nature, like which are defaming in nature, so that it is a group of organization or agencies. Here, defamation and slander are two types of defamation that can be classified. There are two types in this slander and defamation, and the first way returns to written defamation, and second way is written to oral form. Although they have their origins in English common law, they are unclear in the context of Indian jurisprudence. And the Code of Civil Procedure (CRPC), which deals with the procedural aspects of the law, treats these offences as non-cognizable and bailable offences. Here we see that defamation and slander are two types of defamation. Here in English common law we use it that Indian jurisprudence of criminal penal code, like the aspects of law how treats that these offences are non-cognizable and bailable offences, and these are in the written defamation and oral defamation. Coming to characteristics necessary to qualify as defamatory. The statements in question must be defamatory. The allegation or statement must refer to the person making the claim. It must be a statement that must be published, communicated to at least one person, other than one person concerned. Defamation law in India Defamation law of India Constitution of Fundamental Rights guarantees various freedoms to citizens under Article 19 with reasonable restrictions. Like freedom does not permit contempt of court, defamation and incitement to criminal conduct. In civil law, defamation can be punished under tort law by imposing punishment in the form of damages to the injured party. Now, in criminal law, defamation is a bailable, non-cognizable and aggravating offence. Civil defamation in the allegation or statement must be false and made without the consent of the person concerned. Here, in statement of characteristics defamatory, allegations must be statement under the person making with the claim. So, at least one person or other person concerned, defamation law in India of constitutional right which violates fundamental rights, in civil law which violates torts, and defamation injured by the party, civil defamation allegation which is stated by the false and made without consent of person consents. Coming to next, ability to seek monetary compensation for the defendant or defamation. The statements or allegations made must pass the test for the presence of material facts which are defamatory in nature. Defamatory content is intended to damage the reputation of the parties involved, subjecting them to hatred, hostility, or ridicule. Defamation and its nature are calculated from the perspective of ordinary people and their understanding of the matter. So here, ability is to seek that monetary compensation which are used by the defamation by defendant. Here, statements which are alleged by the defendant must be passed for the test present of material facts which are in defamatory in nature. So here, defamatory contended to involve the damaged reputation by the parties who are seeking to find the problem which are in hostility or ridicule, which is hated by the defamation in nature. So the people will easily calculate the perspective of ordinary understanding of this matter. So here, criminal of defamation, imprisonment can be imposed under section 500 of Indian Penal Code, which is legally framed by our law framers. Coming to next, exceptions are not considered defamatory. The disclosure of facts that the public interest requires must be made or published. Then the publication, allegation, attribution of truth in the public interest does not constitute defamation. Here the application of public interest is a moot point in such situation. Official conduct of civil servants, thus expression in good faith of an opinion about the conduct of public official in exercise of his public functions which does not exist defamation. Here conduct of any person in relation to any public matter, which are exceptions under considered defamatory in disclosure of facts which are in public interest which requires must be made under publication. Through publication, it is a public document which the public interest does not constitute defamation. When the application of public interest in a moot point in such a situation, then the official conduct of civil servants which must be expressed in good faith, and then the opinion of about conduct public official is exercise of his public function which does not constitute defamation. So here there are many rules and regulations which are followed by the defamatory laws which are conducted any person related to any public matter. Finally, I would like to conclude that defamatory is the value of public representation which opinions expressed in good faith regarding statements with the consent of the author which do not constitute defamation. Here, defamation is a tort which resulting from an injury to one's reputation. It is the act of harming the reputation of individual by another through making a false statement to third person. Defamation is an invasion of the interest in the reputation. As we all know that we see that in defamation which is making false statements about someone's through their damaged reputation. In this, based on false information disseminated to damage a person's reputation towards them. Defamation is punishable under civil and criminal law. As we all know that defamation is under The court dismissed of Article 21 of Constitution of India when the actions and allegations intended to defame one another of circumstances. Earlier, the most recent defamation lawsuit which brought family members of a current government official. The slander and defamation is two types. CRPC, which deals with jurisprudence and procedural aspects of the law, treats that offences which are in non-cognizable and bailable offences. Thank you all.